Hey again everybody! July 2021 has come to a close, and as always we've been pushing forward, making good progress on our story-driven RPG. I hope you're all doing well and are ready to see what we've been up to this month. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone as always that Exodus Rising is still very much a work in progress. Everything that we showcase in these devlogs is not final and is subject to change leading up to release. Since we showed off the lower city at the beginning of the month, we've made a lot of progress adding in art to this area. As was also the case with the Colosseum, it's been really cool seeing this area develop over the course of June and July. We won't be showing you all of the art that has been added to this dungeon, because as we mentioned in our last devlog, we want you to have fun exploring these locations for yourselves. Our goal moving forward is to show you all a small glimpse of some of our upcoming levels. Without spoiling you, we want to give you an idea as to the overall look and feel that you can expect with these unique locations that you'll be visiting. Before moving on, I want to mention that this month we updated our landscape material to allow for the use of tessellation. This allows us to make the ground that you walk on look more 3D and realistic. I wanted to mention this because not only is it just a cool feature by itself, but it also ties into the next part of this devlog. A big thing that we've introduced into the world of Leyda this month is a dynamic weather system, which gives us control over everything from thunderstorms to blizzards. We're excited that we can now expand on our goal of having each location in the world be a unique experience, by also having the atmosphere of each area differ dependent on the weather conditions. As the weather conditions shift dynamically, it means that each of you are going to have different experiences when travelling to new areas. For example, one of you may enter the lower city at the crack of dawn with not a cloud in the sky. Others will arrive at night surrounded by fog or in the middle of a torrential downpour. Whilst the weather conditions will differ from player to player throughout the majority of the city, we also have the ability to set each location to use a certain weather type if we want to. We're really excited to put this to use for different areas where we want to push a specific atmosphere. A haunted manor trapped in the middle of a thunderstorm, for example. The implementation of this dynamic weather system has proved to be a fantastic addition to the world, but for it to work well within the world, it was most certainly not as simple as just adding it in. I'd like to cover some of the small details regarding this system that have kept us busy throughout July, which we've been working on to really bring the world to life and immerse you in this high fantasy setting. Each material in the world now has a few different variants, which allow us to make buildings, rocks, trees, etc. look wet whilst it's raining. This also applies to the various creatures and beasts you'll encounter throughout the world, as well as the armour of NPCs, and of course your own armour too. We've been adding in additional VFX for when it's raining, so that rain pours off of roofs, tents and other surfaces. The rain will also slide down glass windows and create ripples when it hits the water throughout the world. Something that is most noticeable during heavy rain and thunder, but applies no matter the weather, is how the sounds of the outside world are muffled when you enter an interior. I want to go back to the landscape tessellation that I mentioned previously, as the new weather system benefits greatly from it. During heavy rainfall, puddles will form throughout the world, and the tessellation allows them to form at varying heights. It also allows for snow to collect in the gaps of the bricks in the street. Additionally, by placing interactors on the individual feet and torso of the player, we're able to use the tessellation to allow you to form a path in the snow as you wander around. This also applies to the various NPCs and enemies that you'll encounter on your adventure. Over time, as the world continues to be coated in white, the paths that were created are slowly filled in with a new layer of snow. With that being said, those are the main things that I wanted to cover regarding our new weather system. As I mentioned before, working this new system into the game has taken a lot of time this month, as we want to make sure that we get it right and create an exciting and immersive world for you all to explore. Moving on then, let's talk about some of the other changes we've made throughout July. As the lower city set dressing continues, various new levels are being designed alongside it. Once again, we'll be keeping info about these levels to a bare minimum, but we'll still be sure to keep you up to date on how we're progressing with them each month. You now leave ripples in the water as you step through puddles, which also has new sound effects. Additionally, after stepping in water, you'll now leave wet footprints, which slowly dry up the more you walk around as your boots begin to dry. Clarabak's lock-on reticle was bugged previously, as it was visible on them when they burrowed underground. This has since been fixed, meaning you'll now have no idea where they're going to pop up and will need to stay vigilant to avoid being caught off guard. Lanterns throughout the world now turn on as the sun begins to set over Vahrin. They'll also turn on during heavy rain and snowfall to illuminate the path. Pressing the attack button whilst your weapon is sheathed will now perform a quick attack. You can also go straight into a block with a sheathed weapon. Before, you had to press a separate button to bring out your weapon first, before being able to attack or block. Previously, you rolled in the direction your character was facing, meaning you had to turn and face the direction you wanted to dodge. With a recent change, the dodge now forces you in the direction you're pressing instead. It's hard to show you the change with this because it's very much an improvement with how the game controls, but this tiny adjustment makes dodging instantaneous and much more responsive. With the still recent engine update, we're now able to take advantage of Unreal Engine's volumetric clouds. And finally, we've adjusted the camera for when you enter the interiors of buildings and other tight spaces. Before, the camera would stay at the same position regardless of where you were, making it hard to navigate indoor areas due to the camera clipping through the walls. The camera now zooms in and moves slightly to the side of the player, which makes indoor areas much easier to traverse. With that being said, that's everything I've got to share for July's devlog. Of course, as always, not 100% of everything we worked on this month made it into this video, but we were sure to cover the large majority. I hope you all enjoyed this video and are looking forward to future ones. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second devlog for Exodus Rising, our story-driven action RPG. Since our last devlog back at the end of November, we've been very busy working on all sorts of different things, one of those things being the opening tutorial. When we set out to make the tutorial, we wanted to structure it so that the game would teach you how to do something by having you do it yourself. The game teaches you how to attack, you then perform an attack. We thought that this would be a good way to teach you the basics of how to play our game, and a lot of you guys seem to think the same, so it was a win-win. We also wanted to teach you as much as we could at the very beginning of the game, so that you could then take what you've learned and apply it out on your adventures. Having a tutorial stretch out and having the game teach you something new when you're hours into the game is something we really wanted to avoid. We ran into quite a few problems over the 3 or so weeks of making this tutorial, which is expected, but it's now complete and we're very happy with how it plays. Moving into the first level after the tutorial, we had a lot of plans for the Barathrum Forest. We added a lot more foliage and vines stretching across the ravine to make the environment feel a lot more natural and overgrown. From here we began our internal playtesting of the level, which, as you'd expect, resulted in multiple bugs, everything ranging from breaking out of the map to duplication glitches. And then we were having a problem where our checkpoints weren't working correctly. It took a lot of deaths to figure out the solution to this one. Whilst this was happening, we were working to optimize the forest to the best of our ability, as we noticed that some of our playtesters were struggling on low-end machines. We were able to tweak the LODs and collision of the level, and we're happy to say that it now runs much better. Finally, the last thing we did before departing the forest was adjust the brightness of the night sky. Quite a few of you guys commented that the game looked very dark at night, and so we decided to brighten it up. It's safe to say that it was a much needed adjustment, and we all much prefer how it looks now. The third and final area that we made significant changes to is the Vahrin Periphery. We added various buildings that you can discover and explore, as well as a bandit camp that you can scavenge materials from. There are also various other new places that you can discover, which will reward you with treasure. We began playtesting this level as well, but thankfully there weren't nearly as many bugs as in the previous level. This was good news for me because it allowed me to have a bit of fun and have a bit of a play around with some of the AI. As one of the more polished locations in Exodus Rising right now, we're really happy with how it's come together. Up until now, the majority of what we've shown off in this devlog has been environments, but that's not everything we've been up to. A variety of magic spells have been polished with brand new visual effects and sound effects. These spells now also connect with the enemy, and so they aren't just for show. Having some new spells complete and ready to use in combat has been pretty damn awesome. They're satisfying to use, and when you combine them with your favourite weapon, it makes for some really fun gameplay. Some of you may have also noticed that we have new death effects, which we think are a massive improvement from the original. We're now almost fully caught up with everything that we've been up to over the past couple of months. One of the final things we did was add all of the weapons and armour into the game that you can find along your journey. These can't be found in the world just yet, but that's something for another day. Our main focus for the near future will be largely around the market area. The market, in comparison to the last two levels, is a place that used to be full of people every single day. Merchants selling various goods in the streets, knights out on their patrols, children running around playing with their friends. A very busy and hectic place. And for this reason, there's a lot more work to be done in making the area feel real, making it feel as though these busy days used to occur. We want you to be able to walk through the market and have a story be told to you using the environment around you. This goes for every area in the game, but is something that we're trying to keep in mind especially for the market moving forward. We're continuing to use Speed Tree moving forward. It allows us to create some pretty cool fantasy style trees, and we're starting to use it to bring a whole lot more colour into the world. It's one of our priorities at the moment to incorporate a lot more reds, oranges, purples and blues to really dial up the fantasy feel of the game. And so hopefully soon we'll have a much more vibrant and colourful world to show you guys. With that being said guys, that's everything we have to show you for this devlog. There are many things we're working on at the moment and other things we're planning to work on soon which didn't make it into this video, but we'll make sure to keep you all up to date through our social media. We'd love to know what you thought of this devlog and what we can do better for the next one. If there's anything you want to see more of, or if you have any questions, then ask away. If it's something that you guys want, then maybe next time we could bring on some of the other team members to answer your questions personally. If you can't wait for the next devlog and want to see real-time updates on Exodus Rising, then our Twitter is the best place to be. And if you really liked what you saw here, we'd really appreciate sharing this video around and consider dropping us a wishlist on Steam. Last but not least, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for all the support you've been showing us lately. Honestly, it's amazing to have such a supportive community, and we're ridiculously excited for the future of Exodus Rising and beyond. Thank you all so much again, and we'll catch you guys next time. Take care.